Hello, people. Welcome back to the show. And let's jump straight into the topic of discussion. A very interesting topic of discussion, for that matter, race for Europe. How eighth place position could still qualify for Europe next season. So let's jump into the details straight up. If you're watching this content and you yet subscribe, do well to help your boy to 2,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? Subscribe to the channel, like the content, turn on your notification because I will be coming to you every day with bumpers. You know what I mean? Let's jump into the case immediately. Now, race for Europe. You know what I mean? All you need to know as Premier League clubs try to secure UEFA Champions League, Europa League, or the Conference League for the 2025-2026 season. Blood. You know what I mean? The race to secure places in the 2025-2026 UEFA Champions League, Europa League, and UEFA Conference League is one of the most exciting and difficult to predict in the Premier League history. You know what I mean? 1 point separating, third to seventh position in a joke at all. It's a very, very difficult one to predict. So what a last day is going to be, the game week 38 is going to be madness, roller coaster. You know what I mean? Let's go forward. Here's all you need to know, including the impact that Crystal Palace FA Cup win will have and how 10 Premier League teams could still qualify for Europe next season. You hear that? How 10 Premier League teams could still qualify for Europe next season. That's a wonder. You know what I mean? That means definitely Europe. If all these teams go into Europe next season from Premier League, all the clubs should still be coming back to all the clubs should definitely be coming to Europe. You know what I mean? So let's go. The top 7 clubs are guaranteed to be playing in Europe next season, but only the top 5 will get a Champions League spot because, of course, we have an extra. The Premier League have an extra spot in the Champions League. It's going to be fielding an extra team, which means Premier League is going to be feeding 5 teams into the Premier League this season. Of course, all kudos to Arsenal for that performance against Real Madrid. After that performance against Real Madrid, Premier League confirmed that the Premier League has reached the coefficient value for performance, English team performance in the Champions League, and therefore will be allowed to feed in 5 teams into the Champions League and not 4. You know what I mean? Let's continue from there. But all and there is all to play for, as there is only 1 point separating 5 teams ranked 3rd to 7th. There is another interest. There's another interesting race happening a little bit further down the table. And that's quite interesting as well. You have teams like Brighton, Brentford, and Bournemouth, all battling to finish 8th. Because of this, these teams as well, are battling to finish 8th, which might be worth a place in the European competition next season. Fulham are no longer finishing 8th. Fulham are no longer going to finish 8th on the log, no matter what. So let's go down into the details. How do teams qualify for European competitions? For the Champions League, just a brief summary. The top 5 teams in the Premier League, not the traditional top 4, will qualify for the next season's Champions League. This is thanks to the performance of the Premier League clubs in all UEFA competitions this season. England is guaranteed the top 5, is guaranteed the top 2 spots in UEFA Association Clubs Coefficient Ranking, which ends European Performance Sport, EPS. You get that? I've explained that before. Because of that performance, EPL got, that it gained the top 2 spots in UEFA Association Club Coefficient Ranking. That's why the Premier League will be feeding in 5 teams. Let's go ahead, you know what I mean? The Premier League will actually have 6 clubs in the next season's Champions League. Get the details very clear. Calma. Get the details very clear. The Premier League will actually have 6 clubs in the next season's Champions League. The top 5 teams, in the league, plus whoever triumph out of Manchester United and Tottenham. So get that now. Everybody is trying to misinterpret this whole thing. Calma, listen very well, and let me explain it to you. Now, of course, as you all know, the Europa League final is coming up tomorrow, Wednesday, in Bilbao, and everything is being ready for that showdown, and we will be there. Of course, we will be watching, and we will be giving you everything that has to come with that final. You know what I mean? Now, let's go into this. The battle for a top five spot in the league is very tight, with only Liverpool and Arsenal guaranteed, a top five finish. So for now, only Liverpool and Arsenal have been guaranteed to finish in the top five. Every other teams are still battling it out, and anything can still happen. Any team can still jump from seventh position to third position. Anything can still happen. You know what I mean? So let's continue. The race is to secure the other three remaining places. The race to secure the other three remaining places actually remains very wide open, like I just explained, with five teams in the mix: Newcastle United, Chelsea, Villa, City, and Nottingham Forest still battling it out. Significantly, Forest hosts Chelsea on the final day of the season in a huge head-to-head, because Chelsea and Nottingham Forest are among the five teams in the battle for that three positions. That's going to be a very, very huge head-to-head game, a match you want to watch. Any team that wins that has a very, very high chance, to play in the Champions League next season. And remember, that game is actually away at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest. It's going to be a very, very big game. You know what I mean? Now, for Europa League, now listen to this. The English football receives two, Europa League places. One is traditionally awarded to the fifth place finisher in the Premier League, but this season it will go to the sixth place team because England have received an additional fifth Champions League spot. I guess you understand that. So instead of fifth now, it's going to the sixth because of the extra spot. Now, the other Europa League place goes to the winner of the FA Cup, which is Crystal Palace, after beating Manchester City 1-0 in the final of the FA Cup at Wembley last weekend. Now, for the UEFA Conference League. UEFA Conference League, the winners of the EFL Cup qualifies for the Conference League automatically, like already. Newcastle automatically qualified for the EFL Cup. This season, Newcastle secured a European spot when they triumphed over Liverpool at Wembley, ending their 56-year wait for a trophy in that process. We all know that story. How can the eighth placed team now get into Europe? This is the detail. Listen attentively. Listen very well. Yes, listen attentively, and so you don't get to mix this whole thing up. There's a lot details here. By rights, the winners of the Conference League gets a place in the Europa League, and Chelsea have reached the Conference League final, facing Real Betis in Wrocław, Poland, on 28th May. So by rights, winners of the Conference League, get the place in Europa League in it. So Chelsea are in the final, of course. If they win the final, automatically they qualify for Europe. But of course, like you all know, Chelsea, they want more. They want the Champions League. We've talked about that before. So without wasting time, let's go forward. If the Blues win that competition, then their final position in the Premier League table will directly influence the eighth placed team. There are two ways that the eighth placed team can get a place in the Conference League, according to ESPN. There are two ways that the eighth place team could get a place. Now, this is option number one. Way number one. If Chelsea finish seventh and win the Conference League, you know what I mean? So if Chelsea finish seventh and win the Conference League, automatically the eighth place team can get a place. Cannot get a place in the Conference League, because Chelsea, of course, will not be finishing 8th or 9th or something. They will be finishing 7th, which if they lose to Nottingham Forest, you know what I mean, at the weekend, and go on to win Real Betis, which means they'll be finishing 7th, winning the Conference League, and that brings an opportunity for the Premier League's 8th position to qualify. Now, which means that is going to look like, the structure is then going to look like this. For Champions League, you have first to fifth position, then either Man United or Spurs as Europa League winner, making the sixth, will be coming sixth. Then for Europa League places, you have the sixth placed position, then Crystal Palace, which are winners of the FA Cup, then Chelsea as Conference League winners. Do you understand that? Let me go back again. If Chelsea finish seventh, win the Europa League, the traditional 5 teams that are meant to qualify from the EPL this season will qualify for the Champions League, plus either United or Spurs, making it 6. So now beginning from which we're now having 6 teams, right? Now for the Europa League, the team that actually finished 6th, will qualify for the Europa. Then plus Crystal Palace for winning the FA Cup will qualify again. Then Chelsea for winning the Conference League, making it 3 teams will qualify for the Europa League instead of 2 teams. You understand? Now, which makes the number 8 team open, number 8 position open for the 8th placed finished team to qualify for the Conference League. So Chelsea is not going to be in the Conference League. They'll be playing in the Europa League. Therefore, it creates a way for another team to play in the Conference League, which will be the team that finishes 8th. That is way 1, which I personally feel that is what's going to happen by the ways. Way 2, Chelsea finishing 6th and winning the Conference League, while Newcastle finished 7th. I don't see that happening. I'm sorry, but that is one of the options. And what does this create? It means that, just like before, first to fifth, then Man United or Europa for the Champions League, 6 teams. Then for Europa League, we have Newcastle, of course, Crystal Palace for winning FA Cup, then Chelsea for winning Conference League, which means still 3 teams to play in the Europa League. Then we have, that automatically opens the door for the 8th placed team to go on and play in the Conference League. That is really good. Like, there's every chance that Premier League is going to feed in an extra team in the Europa League this season. That, which means, like, Premier League is going to feed in 2 extra teams in the Champions League, 1 extra team in the Europa League, and create another space for another team to play in the Europa League. What? Oh my God, that's big. What a cheat! What a cheat code! But that's the law. They're not breaking no law. That's why this season is actually a very, very unique season. This type of season rarely comes by. It rarely comes by. And so that's how it is now. In either of these scenarios, the Premier League would have 10 teams, half of the Premier League playing in Europe next season, in either of them. So 6 will be playing Champions League, 3 will be playing Europa League, making it 9 plus an extra team in for the Conference League, making it 10. 10 teams from the Premier League. Half of the Premier League teams are going to be in Europe next season. Normally, it used to be 4 in the Champions League, 2 in the FA Cup, making it 6, then 1 for the Conference League, making it 7. Now, Premier League is going to be feeding in 10. Oh my God, that's really brilliant, isn't it? That's really good for the league. And if that's to happen, it means a lot. Next season, definitely, EPL still have all the chance to still get that UEFA coefficient ranking and still feed in an extra team for another year, which is a very brilliant one for the Premier League. Let me know if you understand my explanation. And yeah, it was nice to do business with you. It was nice to be explaining this to you, and I hope you enjoyed my explanation. And if you enjoyed that, why not subscribe? Come on, do well. Do subscribe to the channel. Help your boys on my way to 2,000 subscribers. Don't forget to turn on that notification. I'll be right there. I'll be right there on your doorbell every day now. And don't forget, the transfer window is officially opening very soon, in less than 10 days, and we will be right there to give you everything that you need to know. What are you waiting for? Let's go, fam. Come on.